So yesterday, after the show, yesterday's show was about kind of showing the respect to Alec Boehm, and we're talking about the psyche of the Philadelphia Phillies fan. But then on Monday, it was kind of like you just heard the open there. This is the last chance show.
You're more in that time frame than I am, but I am with you of understanding where you're at.
Yeah, with the age,
I understand where you're at.
The contracts that are coming up, movable pieces after this year. So it almost feels like to me the last hurrah for this core of the Phillies team. Not that they're going to plummet like they did the last time and go on a 10-year playoff drought. It's just this core, the core that we did Dancing on My Own with, in 2022, and obviously the fun year of 23 before the collapse in the NLCS. This core seems like it's the final year. And so yesterday you were pitching a topic, and I would like you to give that to the people, and then I'm going to follow up with another topic as well about the slog that the Phillies have constantly done over the last couple of years, including that Dancing on My Own team.
I would tell everybody that, first of all, and I brought it up earlier with Andrew and Connor, and we were talking about it backstage before we started. I'm of the belief that people are now sort of just nudging other Phillies fans because, honestly, if you know baseball and you understand baseball, there's no way you can look at this Phillies team and not be excited about 2025.
Right.
Like, I think it's almost like a low-key troll job.
Like contrarian.
Whatever it is. You're just going to be contrarian because if you're not excited about this Phillies team and you don't think they're going to win like 90 games, you're just being contrary because without injury, that should absolutely happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one thing that I think for a lot of people would point to that I've heard is, well, this team's, they're up and down. They got to get hot at the right time. I can point to a couple things, though, the last 3 years. I'm going to ask the 2025 Phillies to do something that they haven't done in the 3 years that they've been good.
Okay.
The last three.
And they have been good.
They've been good. I think they've been more than good.
Yeah.
They've been more than good. In 2022, they played a 50-game stretch where they were 21-29. Ridiculous for the amount of money that John Middleton spends, the amount of talent they had. It got Joe Girardi fired. They played 20 games over 500 from that point on, and it was great. Then they follow up in 2023, all that momentum, and they come out and they go 25-32.
Yeah.
7 games under 500, and then they play 65-40, 25 games over, better than the year before, after June the 1st. So those two runs, the Phillies didn't start playing in 22 and 23 until after June 1st.
That's when the June Schwarber Fest, all that kind of stuff starts.
Last year, they go opposite.
Yeah.
They start out 61-32.
Which is insane.
And I picked that date because they went 61-32 the night that they finished sweeping the Dodgers.
Yeah.
From that point on, they played 34-35. Under 500 for 70 games for half the season, which is unacceptable. So you had 2 years where you had 50-game stretches where it was unacceptable. Last year, you had a 70-game stretch where it was unacceptable. The Phillies got to be hearing some of the negative chatter, and I hope they tune it all out because I do think people are trying to be contrarian. But I will say this. It's unacceptable if this Phillies team puts up another 50-game, 70-game stretch of just mediocre to subpar baseball. Kevin Long spoke to John Clark, and he talked about this year we just have to have our focus, and we have to have our consistency of how we do things. That points to 50, 70 games, 3 years in a row, a lack of consistency.
Yeah.
And I want to see this team just give me that.
Right.
Because I think if they give me that, they'll take all the naysayers, will be jumping back on, and they'll be zipping their lip.
And those numbers that you gave, that's not that's just baseball.
No,
like
it's not.
A 10-game stretch where you go 3-7, that's just baseball. Right? I mean, the Dodgers at some point this year might go 500 over a 10-game stretch, even with that ridiculous all-star lineup that they have. That is just baseball. But those 3 seasons, 3 consecutive seasons, a World Series appearance, an NLCS appearance, and a 95-win baseball team, you're right. I mean, they had 3 consecutive years with like 2 to 3 months of subpar baseball for this team. For this team. Baseball team with the roster that they have, the pitching staff that they have, the money allocated that they have, as you mentioned, the bullpen that they have. There is no reason that a team like this, maybe one out of the last 3 years, but all three, that means there is something going on with the team.
But can I spin it one way as a potential positive?
Of course.
This Phillies team, they play a large stretch of 2022, 20 games over, which, by the way, would mean 91 and 71 over the course of a year.
Right.
They play 25 over for a large stretch in 23, and last year they played 29 over. So this team is still great when they want to be, when they focus, when they do their jobs. And to me, that's a great thing, that you can have these 50, 50, and 70 game stretches over the course of 3 years, and you still manage to go to a World Series, an NLCS, and an LCS.
But that's why I think
that's
people...
the positive in it, though.
It is a positive, but it's also, you could spin it to the negative because people go, yeah, this team's streaky. So,
and they are. But
in 2022, they had their peak, right? The peak was getting to the World Series, and they kind of maintained that through the first half of that series, and then they had a deep valley when you get no hit in a World Series game. The valley of the second half of that Diamondback series where you come back home and you choke away that series. And last year, you didn't even have a peak in the playoffs, unfortunately. We have seen this team go ice cold. Now, it happens in baseball frequently. We have seen the best team going into the playoffs, or one of the best teams in the playoffs, fall pretty early on every single year. So that is just baseball. That is the unfortunate 5-game series in the first round of the playoffs.
Like where the Braves were great in 22 and 23 and got smoked by the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, that
not even
happens.
competitive.
So it's interesting. Can the Phillies avoid that this year? They have the pieces to do.
Thank you so much for checking out our content on the 97.5 The Fanatic YouTube channel. Hope you enjoyed the video. And remember, you can always be checking the playlist. There may be something you missed from one of our shows during the day that you want to go back and check out. So every time you like a video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and you'll have that great content coming to you every single day. You're greatly appreciated.